The memory of her leaving burns as sharply as if it occurred just moments ago. It was a tranquil afternoon. The sort where the world seems to hold still, time suspended in a quiet hush. I stood there, mute, as she turned her back on me. Maybe I should have called out, begged, or struggled to hold her near, but I chose silence instead. In that instant, with her figure receding, I sealed my lips, unsure of what would come next. Would she come back? Would she vanish for good? Deep inside, I felt a certainty that she'd one day look back with remorse, though when that might happen remained a puzzle. Our tale wasn't always threaded with such weighty pauses. There was a time when our mornings blossomed with the hope of brighter tomorrows, and our evenings were woven with shared chuckles and warmth. Our love colored the world in gentler tones, making every second feel light as air. But somewhere along the way, fractures began to appear. At first, they were faint, brief flickers of distance, unspoken thoughts stacking up like stones in an unseen barrier. Over time, that barrier grew too high, too firm. I sensed its heaviness, and I know she felt it too. Yet when she walked away, I didn't chase her. I didn't plead or implore her to stay. Instead, I cloaked myself in silence, perhaps believing it would guard my heart, or that giving her space would make her realize what she'd abandoned. A faint spark of hope for her return glowed in my mind, but I couldn't let myself grasp it too tightly. All I knew was that by not stopping her, I'd made a choice, one that would reshape our entire world. The days after her departure felt like a life stripped of vibrancy. I woke each morning, drifting through routines that held no purpose. The fire that once illuminated my days had dimmed. The house rang with a hollow emptiness, its quiet overwhelming. My side of the bed felt too cold, too empty. I yearned for the sound of her laughter, the soft tread of her footsteps, the gentle hum that once floated from the kitchen. I'd hoped for calm, maybe even liberation, but instead, a gnawing void settled inside me, as if a piece of my essence had been carved out, leaving me uncertain how to fill the gap. Did she feel this same hollowness? Did she ache for me as I ached for her? Yet I refused to reach out. She'd chosen to leave, and I told myself she should carry the burden of that decision. I convinced myself I'd be fine, but beneath it all, I grappled with uncertainty. Had my silence been a misstep? Did she think I was indifferent, that her absence meant nothing to me? The phone remained silent. No messages arrived. She was gone, and I had let her slip away. The quiet between us grew denser, a relentless weight pressing on my chest, day after day. Then one evening, months later, a sound pierced the stillness, the doorbell's chime. It was late, and I wasn't expecting visitors. When I opened the door, there she was. Her eyes were red-rimmed, her face marked by weariness. Life hadn't been gentle with her since she'd left. "I'm sorry," she whispered, her voice delicate, as if the words had been trapped inside her for too long. "I was wrong. I shouldn't have walked away. I didn't know what I was doing." Her words washed over me like a wave, but I wasn't sure how to respond. She stood there, trembling faintly, as if preparing for whatever might follow. For a moment, I simply took in her presence. The silence that had once separated us was gone, replaced by something different. Not the wall it had been, but a stillness heavy with remorse and hard-won wisdom. She opened her heart, recounting the months she'd spent revisiting our past, the disputes, the miscommunications, the words she wished she could unsay. She spoke of how she'd tried to escape her own feelings, from the love that had always tethered us. Most of all, she admitted the burden of her regret for leaving without attempting to repair what was broken. "I thought I could walk away and start over," she said, wiping a tear from her face. "But I couldn't. I couldn't forget you. I couldn't let go of what we had." Her words pierced me, stirring a whirlwind of emotions: anger, relief, yearning, and fear of being wounded again. "I stayed silent because I thought you needed to find your own path," I said finally, my voice calm but gentle. "But I didn't expect it to take so long." Her tearful eyes met mine. "I should have returned sooner," she murmured. "I should have realized what I had before I let it go." That night, we didn't untangle every question or chart the road ahead. But we found something essential, a mutual understanding. The silence we'd endured had served its purpose, giving us both space to reflect on what truly mattered. We talked for hours, laying bare the pain, the regrets, and the love we'd kept hidden. It was raw, chaotic, and painful, but it was real. We weren't the same people we'd been before, and perhaps that was for the better. She stayed that night, and for the first time in months, the loneliness that had shadowed me lifted. The silence was no longer a wedge between us. It had become a path to reconciliation. In the end, silence may not always be the solution, but sometimes it's the only way to find clarity. It might take months or even years, but it can guide someone back to where they belong. She returned with tears, regret, and a fragile hope. We didn't know what the future held, but we grasped one truth. Silence can speak louder than words. And sometimes, it's that quiet that helps someone recognize their mistake. Perhaps, in the end, that's enough.